So I've been going through a lot of the Arsenal team over the last week, looking at all sorts of players that should leave, players that should be given a chance, and players that have got a redemption arc already going. But there's one player I haven't done a video about in a very long time, and it's a player that I think every Arsenal fan is probably talking about all the time, with that being the £100 million man himself, Declan Rice. I did a video about Declan Rice just as he joined Arsenal, telling people what I expected from him, and I did a video when he joined Arsenal talking about what I have seen from him in the early games. I was very impressed by many of the abilities that he had at West Ham, and he seemed to come into the Arsenal team and be able to influence the team in a big way straight away, transitioning easily and almost seamless. And I wanted to hold off a bit for doing another video because I wanted to see how his form continued and what people were saying about him, and I can't believe what I'm seeing. He has probably had one of the best 3 or 4 months that have just joined Arsenal that I think any player ever has. There are so many legends of the club that simply didn't have a great start, and it takes time to mould into the game. People like Robert Pires and Thierry Henry took half a season or a season to get used to the team and used to the environment. Obviously Rice comes from London, he was at West Ham and he's in the same league, so there's not that much of a transition period, and he also cost £100 million, so you spend that sort of money because you want the success now. Well, you know, the smart teams do. But honestly, the impact I'm seeing from someone that is supposed to be a 6/8, he's more of an 8 I'd say now for Arsenal, is insane. Every single game he's one of the best players on the pitch, if not the best player, and he is dictating the game in a ridiculous way. To sum up his start at Arsenal, just look at that move he did against Brighton, picking the ball up from midfield and driving with it, not afraid to drive at the defenders and have a shot away, having a good effort saved. Now that's not the first time I've realised how good he is, because from the start I was saying to everyone that he changes things for Arsenal, but I genuinely think him alone makes Arsenal a better team and a better candidate this season to win the league than last year. He can purely do everything by himself. He is so good at ball carrying, running with the ball, tackles, interceptions, mentality, leading. There's so much to his game. He's one of the smartest players on the ball in possession and out of possession, making good movements and tracking runners. He's always there and he works his arse off every single game, and so far, fingers crossed, he hasn't got injured. And in all metrics he has been absolutely sensational for Arsenal, and already honestly has earned that £100 million price tag, which I thought was a fair price to pay considering how much Arsenal needed him anyway. When he scored that last minute goal against Luton, it was just a vindication of him being so great. He knew that he wanted to get in the ball and use his intelligence to get there and do a great header. It seems like he is always turning up when it matters, even in games Arsenal have lost he's been phenomenal in. And if you just look at his ratings for Arsenal on FootMob, I know FootMob isn't the best metric, but it's just insane. He's having over a 7 per game every time he starts, and honestly I think Arsenal might have not bought a better player than this ever before. It's scary to think, because if Manchester City or Liverpool had a player like Declan Rice, then their team would be infinitely better. He would get in any team in the country, I think even in the world at the moment, and honestly most teams with him should be probably top of the league. He is literally that good. So what has he actually been doing for Arsenal? Well, he's been used as a number 8 and number 6 this season, mostly a bit of both. He's a bit of a mix between both of these systems, and recently he's had that double pivot with Odegaard, which is making them both better, even though Rice was playing better before. His plan is to operate around that midfield centre spot. He does like pushing up as well into a centre mid, into a cam attacking midfield role, but often it's down that mid side. This season Rice has offered brilliant protection to the back line, which has seen Arsenal concede the least amount of goals in the Premier League despite some goalkeeper mistakes. He loves winning the ball with usually brilliant time tackles, a lot of physicality using that midfield role, and then he likes picking up the ball and running with it, not looking to pass it off straight away. This helps Arsenal get up the pitch quicker than usual, and in transition it helps them have their 4 or 5 men up front to create more an overload so the other defence has less men, as we have seen with Havertz being sort of a secondary striker, which I spoke about in my other video. He usually drives, which creates a defender to go towards him, and then this usually gives space to one of the wingers or another midfielder with Arsenal's pressing up front, so he likes passing it off as soon as he gets closer with the ball. He has also shown he is brilliant under pressure, a bit like Partey before, who is actually very good at press resistance, but does make mistakes sometimes when he gets overrun, as his dribbling and turning ability is not the highest. But this is no issue for Declan Rice. He's a brilliant footballer and can get the ball and go past a few players and then pass it off. He's also very physical in challenges and doesn't use the ball very often, because often has the sense to give it away before he's lost it. Now every time I talk about these videos I always mention how I'm not really a fan of Partey, which is definitely unfair because it's not fair to compare him to Rice, who is probably one of the best midfielders in the world. Partey's a very good player and was very good for Arsenal, but he was unreliable when he was injured a lot, like he is now, and sometimes in seasons where Arsenal haven't played well he does get overrun, which necessarily isn't his fault, but there's a lot of mistakes that he made. I do think Arsenal look to get rid of him this January. Another thing brilliant about Rice, however, is when you look at his passing networks, he is passing to every single person on the team. In the middle of that pitch, he's the vocal point of the team and everything goes through him. This is what you want from your main midfielder. He has no problem with passing it to anyone that comes short with him, and he has no problem with spreading the ball out wide with long passes to even the fullbacks or the defenders to go back. He's calm under pressure and always finds an option to pass it off to someone. I think Declan Rice has been overall very good since he joined, but I do think it's taken some bedding period for the whole team to sort of connect with everyone, and I think in the last few weeks you've really seen Arsenal hit the top level. They've been really dominating games, with Havertz and Raya being a lot better, and he has a really good understanding of what he needs to do straight away. In the Brighton game, he was brilliant with Gabriel to work on who they needed to mark up. Often Rice marked Adam Lallana while Gabriel marked Evan Ferguson, and Arsenal's press was brilliant in this game and they failed to really get the ball out to them, but he was so good in making sure Adam Lallana barely got a touch on the ball. And he was so disciplined, and he has been so disciplined this season. He's barely got many cards. I think he's got 1 or 2 yellow cards and no red cards, and he's very good at keeping with men and making sure the tackles are on time. And he's not afraid to break away from this when Arsenal have the ball and try and create a chance going forward. And he is so disciplined that he works perfectly in this system, and I think they all do. I give a credit to all of Arsenal's players with Arteta's system. Against Brighton, you saw how they triggered. As soon as the ball was moved out to the left where Billy Gilmour would come inside to try and get the ball, you'd see the press start happening. Declan Rice would stay on the line even if he kept going deeper and deeper, making sure you never left his side. This boxed Brighton in and caused Arsenal to keep winning the ball back, or Brighton to kick it away straight to him. And not only having all this quality in the game, you can see how much of a leader he is. He is making sure that the tactics are being planned by everyone in the game, and he makes sure that he does what Arteta wants. He's not only that, he just tells everyone where to be and where to go, and he's very good at dictating where everyone should do, because Arsenal do have a young team despite having a lot of experience and might need some direction sometimes. Honestly, he's probably a future Arsenal captain, but obviously we do have Martin Odegaard, who's around the same age as him and is a brilliant captain, and we have bigger opportunities to people like Gabriel, who I do think could be a great leader as well. Arsenal were already the second best team in the country, maybe third, because Liverpool maybe had an off year last year, you could say, but they were definitely up there, and they're definitely one of the best teams in Europe, even though people don't want to give credit to them. Declan Rice has come in, and he has probably been the best player at the club this season, arguably probably the best Premier League player this year. And if Arsenal are to have any success, it will definitely be through him. He is so good at every single thing in the game. He does exactly what he's needed of him, and he's better than I thought he would be when he joined Arsenal. I knew he'd be good, but I didn't think he would be this good. And it's been clear that Arteta likes playing different players every game, depending on the systems, and depending on who they are playing, he will adapt to that. But one given is in the team. There's a few starters that are definitely going to play, but Declan Rice is every single game he is fit, this guy will play, because he is that good, and he can do any role the party can times 100. Obviously, it's still early days of the Premier League, and Declan Rice is still at early days at Arsenal. He should hopefully have a great career here, and he's got long left, hopefully winning many trophies for us. And I don't want to get too overexcited, but I genuinely think he could be the best Arsenal signing of all time. That makes sense. We did spend the most money on him than anyone ever, so you've got to go up there, but he honestly could be up there with the Arsenal greats, and this team has really got the potential to be something different. They've been brilliant recently. They've been improving every game. Now, this video does not do Declan Rice justice. It's hard to look at stats, and you have to basically watch him game by game to realise his influence on this team, and it is not an overreaction. He genuinely is doing this every week to a high level, even when Arsenal aren't playing the best. Obviously, I hope he continues this against Liverpool in a massive game at the weekend, and let me know who else you want me to make a video about in the Arsenal team. Look at who I've made videos on and decide for me, because there's definitely some options I still think people aren't giving credit to. With that being said, if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and please go and watch my video about Kai Havertz yesterday talking about his amazing comeback. Thank you for watching.